Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about the Wednesday, August 4th and our Tuesday, August 17th City Council meetings. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
We did have our first meeting of the month a day late because everyone was out on Night to Unite, uniting with their neighbors.
Right, yeah. Wednesday night was our first council meeting in August. Tuesday night was the big Night to Unite outing. I think people are kind of getting back into it a little bit slowly, but it's really fun to see it rolling again.
Yep.
You know, normally we have well over 100 of those events, and I think we were less than 70 this year.
Yep.
But it's always a great opportunity to get together with the residents, and you know, they can invite police and fire out to visit them, and they can say we want council to visit, and
it's fun to see the neighbors interacting with the officers and, you know, firefighters and all the equipment. And like you said, it was a little smaller than normal, but I think a lot of events this year with the return from COVID are maybe not quite up to what they normally are. Hopefully all of next year's celebrations will kind of be back to normal.
Yeah, I did plant a little seed after this because I was talking with several mayors the next day, and their public works goes out also on Night to Night and they'll show up with equipment in the street. And the kids love that. So it's like, that's something to think about.
Maybe have some of that horn honking around town. Not just in the park.
Not just at the meeting in the park. Yeah, that's really hard to get used to.
Right.
And what Steve is referring to is we had a meeting in the park. And the Public Works had their dump truck out there, and the kids were sitting in it, and they would grab that air horn, and it would be not regular. It would be honk, and then later, it was just really hard to get used to that.
Well, and I would jump every time we don't normally hear that. They probably weren't supposed to be doing it. So that kind of ended, but the kids had a lot of fun that were able to do the horn that night.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right. Well, we'll jump into things here from our Tuesday, August 17th meeting. One of the first items there, we had a presentation by our local legislators to kick off about the first half hour of the meeting. Yeah,
so Coon Rapids is in an unusual situation. All these legislators overlap into Coon Rapids. So we have 4 state representatives and 3 senators. And we had Representative Peggy Scott at an earlier meeting visiting, giving us an update. And now we had the other 3 representatives, Aaron Cagle, Zach Stevenson, and then the current majority leader, which is Melissa Hortman. And then we had Senators John Hoffman and Jerry Newton. It's hard to pull all those names out of that,
Photo memory.
Yeah, right. Nowhere close to that. But they all came and provided, 2 minutes each of an update that took 27 minutes. But apparently I'm still old math. I don't know.
Yes.
But it's always good for the legislators to come in and give us a little update what's going on, and then we keep in contact with them, and they know what our priorities are and what we're trying to get done out here.
And each of them took kind of a different section to kind of talk about what happened at the legislative session. This year, of course, they were in session a lot longer than normal with the pandemic and the emergency order. They kept having to come back into a special session.
Right.
So they'll be back in session again before you know it.
Yeah, well, that last block of funding, all the rules for that came in like on May 13th, and they were supposed to adjourn on May 17th, so that wasn't going to happen. They had to figure out how they were going to spend all that. The last group, and I've forgotten what the acronym was for that money. But
okay. Well, anyways, good to hear from them. You guys stay in touch, obviously, with our priorities. One of those, I know, being in the 3rd lane on Highway 10. I didn't hear anyone talk about that, but I know where there's the hope that we could get the federal money. But we were still hoping on the state level we could get that secured as well.
Yeah. So Senator Hoffman said I thought he said that they're either working on it or the money was coming, but Congressman Emmer said that he was going to get us the federal money for it. So I don't know. Kind of turning our attention down to that 610 East River Road, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, there's an open house coming up. We'll talk about a little bit later on that. All right, moving forward, Council approved a waiver of a fireworks display license fees for the Coon Rapids Fire Relief Association. When I saw this, I thought it was just an action that we were taking after the 4th of July fireworks, but there actually are some fireworks coming up here next month.
Yeah. So Officer Brian Plotz has been planning the 20th anniversary of the September 11th memorial. He did the 10th and the 10th anniversary, and that was a very big deal. And the 20th looks like it'll be a big deal as well. Up at the Coon Rapids High School, and it will end with fireworks. And in order to do the fireworks, you have to have the permit, and we waive the fees for the permit fee for the fireworks.
Okay. So there's lots going out there that day at noon. They're having members of the armed forces and first responders at their vehicles to talk to folks for about the first hour and a half, and then there'll be a ceremony at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Again, this is at Coon Rapids High School, and I think the fireworks are happening at the conclusion of the ceremony, and then there's actually going to be a procession down to Fire Station 1 where they have that I-beam from the World Trade Center on display.
Yeah, the I-beam was a big piece of the 10th anniversary memorial, and that now has a permanent place at Fire Station 1.
Yeah.
And it's actually a very nice memorial down there. And I encourage anybody that hasn't seen it to stop by Station 1, the one on Egret Boulevard, and take a look at that piece of I-beam and the rest of the memorial.
Yeah, we talk about time going fast. Can't believe it's already been 20 years.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. All right, moving forward, council approved a temporary on-sale strong beer and wine liquor license. This is for the upcoming military softball tournament at Sand Creek Park. This has become an annual event in recent years.
So all of that investment in Sand Creek Park as part of the park bond referendum has given us this incredible park that people want to come to. And it's the military softball tournament started a few years ago. They start with a great big ceremony on Friday that's real inspiring, and then a lot of teams over the weekend.
Yeah.
Well, now it's grown to the point where they're actually using fields in Brooklyn Park as well, for the extra games. The ceremony will still be at Sand Creek, and everything will still be at Sand Creek, but some of the games will be played in Brooklyn Park. Very big event. Very popular.
All right, and I believe it kicks off the Friday night usually, so September 10th, and then it must wrap up the 12th.
Yep, exactly. I don't know the times,
Yeah.
but the North Star Lions take care of the food for that and the beer and everything else. So this was them getting their beer license.
All right. Council considered a water emergency. This has become something we have to do at every meeting lately while our water emergency has been in place this summer.
Yeah, so the water emergency can be placed by the Public Works Director and I think it's like 2 of 3, city manager and the mayor. So we declared this back in, I think, July, just because the water use is so intense and the drought is intense. So normally Coon Rapids every summer has the even odd. If you have an even address, you water on even days if you're going to water, and odd days if you have the odd address. And this actually imposed another layer where it was a complete ban, every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And that has to be affirmed by the city council at every meeting if they want it to continue. So we just affirmed it now to the September meeting. The even odd will still expire on August 31st, as it always does. But that main piece of the day, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., will continue to be banned from watering.
All right. So, and this is something that's not to make it difficult for folks. This is something to make sure there's enough water for everyday uses, along with any firefighting that's necessary.
Right. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you have an emergency during the day that requires our firefighters to show up, they don't want to tap into a low water tower. They want all the pressure and they want the volume there. Yeah,
and there's some maintenance going on the East Water Treatment Plant, correct? So that's also not helping levels this summer.
Yeah, and I don't know where they're at with that right now, but that's a 5.5 million gallon reservoir that had to be emptied, completely depleted in order to do the maintenance. So yeah, there was very good reason for the ban this year.
Yeah, okay. So this will continue up until now. At this point, the odd-even ban will end on August 31st.
Correct.
But I imagine could be reimposed if the water emergency is in place. Maybe unlikely, but the water emergency is still there. So
yeah, and it sounded like the more important piece right now is really that 10 to 6 ban.
Okay.
So like you said, the even odd will expire August 31st.
Yep.
And then at the first council meeting of September, then they'll give us an update and let us know if
Yeah.
they recommend that it continue, if we reimpose that, or what we need to do from there.
All right. Well, let's hope we get some rain. It sounds like we might get some here this weekend or in the coming week, so we really need that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everywhere. I mean, the Mississippi River below the dam is really low up by Elk River. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I drove across 610 the other day, the bridge, and it was like
Yeah.
you look down there and you see like dirt.
It's rocks. Yeah.
The rocks or whatever I'm seeing in the middle of the river, but it's like, those times we drove by it when it was really high.
Yeah.
So now we have the opposite going on.
Yep.
All
Absolutely.
right. Moving forward, council ordered preparation of feasibility reports and plans. This is for, we're already talking about 2022 street reconstruction. It
Right.
seems hard to believe. We're still in the midst of this year's projects.
Yeah, we've got two large projects, large in as far as the number of streets impacted.
Yes.
So 22-1 and 22-2.
Yeah.
They're both West Coon Rapids, kind of tucked in that corner south of the tracks. There's just a little bit north of the tracks. Almost everything else is south of the tracks, right up against the Anoka border, Wedgwood, Zia, all those streets in there. It seems like it was like 60 street segments or something.
Yes.
And only and about 8 miles or 7 miles of streets.
Yeah. Do you want to
Lots
list
of
those off for
cul-de-sacs.
us?
I wasn't going to.
You don't have to. But if you want to see them all, as you said, there's more than 50. I know that. You can go to the city's website, coonrapidsmn.gov, and click on the agendas and find the council meeting agenda from August 17th, and you'll see the whole list. Anyone that's being impacted will be notified in the coming weeks from the city about the project, correct?
Correct. Yeah. The first segment is 27 streets, and then the second segment is even more. There it is. Where is it? Oh, well.
There's a lot of memos.
Yeah.
It's more than 50. So
Yeah.
anyways, they'll be notified. Properties impacted will be assessed, whatever that is. And there'll be more actions on this in the coming months.
All of the impacted streets, or all of the impacted residents, have already received notifications.
Okay.
So if you live somewhere over there and you're wondering if you didn't receive a card, it's unlikely that you're part of it.
Yeah. And the street plan is on the is on the website normally. So if folks are interested to see when their street may be reconstructed, you can find that on the city's website.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it gets all the ratings, and they try and give you an indication of when it's going to be done.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll change a little
Right.
bit. Like, in fact, a good portion of this project was scheduled. I don't even think it was on the schedule, and all of a sudden it was boom next year.
Okay.
So apparently we had some streets that deteriorated a little quicker than they anticipated.
Yeah, but like we've talked before, they rate them and they check them out, and then they kind of have a list of priorities as far as which streets to do when.
Yep.
All right. Council considered a resolution granting a final plat approval for Port Riverwalk, 4th edition. This is Center Homes, and this is actually kind of exciting. It's the final development in this Port Riverwalk development.
Yeah, so they've been working across it, and it was going to be a total of 136 homes, and we would approve 22 homes, and we would approve 42 homes, and
Yeah.
now this is the final segment. So all 136 homes are platted, developed, ready to go, and they're building them as fast as they can build them,
Yeah.
and selling them as fast as they can build them.
Yeah, I would say I imagine the demand now is really strong for them.
Yeah. Well, we ended up with the recession, back around 2012, and home construction had really stopped earlier than that.
Yeah.
So whereas, and I don't remember the numbers, but let's say they used to build 20,000 homes a year.
Yeah.
They were building hardly any, and then construction finally ramped up to like 6,000.
Yeah.
And again, I don't remember exactly the numbers, but you get the in relative nature, you understand the problem.
Yeah.
We're way behind in inventory, and we're just trying to catch up. So there's a lot of demand.
Yeah, which is great. It looks great when you drive by there to see more of that filled in, and council also approved the development agreement along with that action.
Yeah. So, yes.
So they'll continue construction. I mean, obviously they're underway now. I imagine into next year. Do we know how far when it will be completely done?
No, when they first started, I thought they said it would be about 3 years to build out the project.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this has started faster than they had anticipated.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if it took them 3 years, but I don't know.
Yeah, but for sure through next year, I would think, and then
yeah.
possibly into 2023. All right. Council considered dedication of the pickleball courts at Riverwind Park.
Yeah, so as I referenced earlier, the park bond referendum from 2013, I think it was, devoted a lot of money to redoing parks. And even though Councilmember Bruce Sanders went off the council, we would always see him at meetings inquiring about where we were going to put those pickleball courts, staying on top of the pickleball courts, and demanding, essentially, through people that he organized, that we put in really nice pickleball courts.
Yeah.
The park that ended up getting them was Riverwind Park, over off of Northdale, just east of Crooked Lake Boulevard, and they really are very nice pickleball courts. And so, in recognition of Bruce and as a memorial to his passing, we have dedicated those pickleball courts to the memory of Bruce Sanders, and it's a real nice plaque. He was a military vet. He was a former firefighter. He was a city assessor. So I believe it had the plaque had the flag, the Air Force insignia, something with the firefighters, and then there was a fourth thing, and it's past. At any rate,
but it's a really nice plaque, and they're planning to put it up on the fence, kind of at the courts there. And I imagine those are busy courts. Pickleball was growing in popularity. We've done stories over the years, and it's nice. There's courts there for people to play.
The fourth corner is a pickleball paddle and ball.
Oh, well, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. So
Bruce was a good guy. Good for him. He passed away late last year, at the age of 75, I believe it was.
Sounds about right. Yeah. But his wife Sheila was here and spoke, had some nice words. So it was good.
Good for them to go ahead and put that up. All right, that is all we had from our August 17th meeting. We want to jump back now to our first meeting of the month, which again happened on a day late due to Night to Unite, Wednesday, August 4th. First action there, we had a swearing in of a couple more police officers. Seems like we've done this a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had quite a bit of attrition, and and you've got to try and stay ahead. Plus we have added to our department. But yeah, it was really nice to swear in Danny Tran and Tommy Hall. And I think they were both Blaine High School alumni, if I recall right, which I believe is close enough.
That's an okay thing. I mean,
it's not Coon Rapids High School, but it's close enough, I guess. We have a big section of Coon Rapids goes to Blaine, so we'll take it. But very sharp young men, very qualified. They've gone through the gauntlet of training, and it was very nice. And I believe Danny Tran was first, and I believe his daughter, was that the one? His daughter pinned him on?
Yes, they tried. Took a little bit. I think she eventually got it on. We're talking about a young daughter.
Oh, yeah. When he was the one that had the young toddler's son. That shushed me out in the hallway.
That's good.
Everybody was out in the hall, and apparently he'd been seeing quite a few people trying to get everybody quiet down. And when I said hi to him, he went,
we need him in control of the meetings.
So
good for them. She did get it on, and then Tommy Hall, his wife, pinned his badge on.
Very nice. We're very excited to have them here, and I love how the police chief welcomes them and talks about the significance of the citizen's badge, and it's very nice.
All right, well, welcome aboard. Council adopted a resolution changing the land use from commercial mixed use to institutional. This is for a charter school that is kind of coming to Coon Rapids. It's the one that was at Northtown Mall, correct?
Correct. It's the Paladin Charter Technical High School.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's what the acronym stands for. And they're moving into what was the Progressive Insurance Building right behind the Coon Rapids Post Office. Fully, and it's actually 102-220 Goldenrod Street, right next to Aspen Park. And it just seemed like a good fit. But we had to change the zoning because the school isn't an exception for commercial industrial. So we had to change it to medium density residential, which seems ridiculous, but that's what you have to do. And then change the land use.
Yeah.
So we should, from commercial mixed use to institutional, and then we had to do something else for them too.
At any rate, yes.
They're in.
Yeah.
They're coming in.
Yeah, which is nice. They've apparently grown over the years. They're kind of outgrowing their space at Northtown Mall, and they're looking for a larger home.
Yep. And when we first introduced this, a couple of us had questions.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, they showed up at the next workshop in force.
Yeah.
Just in case there's any questions, anybody we needed to answer was there. And then I got a real nice letter from one of the sergeants at the Blaine Police Department that had been working directly with them that recommended that they will be a wonderful asset for the city, and so should be good.
All right. Council adopted a resolution approving a preliminary and final plat. This is for 114XX Robinson Drive, Landform Professional Services. We're talking about some townhomes that are going to be going in kind of behind or next to the Wells Fargo Bank.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of almost like a little flag lot, little L lot right behind Wells Fargo. Yeah. And we're looking at putting in 14 townhomes is what we approved. We'd looked at this proposal probably a year and a half ago they wanted to put in like 100 apartments or something huge. Yeah. And that just didn't get any traction because that felt too shoehorned, didn't feel like a good spot. Townhomes felt like a good fit, and we were very thankful that they came back with them. And so, full steam ahead with that.
All right. Council approved a preliminary and final plat to subdivide Holly Street and Springbrook Drive. This is for JHM Coon Rapids Properties.
Correct. This is right down next to Quick Trip, kind of across from the medical clinic down there. Okay. And it is for another medical building, about 12,000 square foot medical building. There was a lot of discussion at Planning Commission and a little bit at Council as far as ingress and egress, because it's already a very busy spot right there. Yeah. But everybody seemed satisfied that it would work, and so approval of that.
Okay, and there's townhomes behind it, right? That's surrounded on the other side.
Nope. This is.
Oh, sorry. I'm back on the one before that. Oh. You're talking about.
I'm thinking. All I can see is an office and industrial.
Yes, and Quick Trip. I stepped back to our other one, but there are townhomes that surround the other one as well.
The previous one.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. No. This is it's a very good fit. It's lots of medical buildings, office space, industrial. So it's a good fit down there.
Alrighty. Council considered a PUD amendment for the Gateway Commerce Center, Gateway Drive. Philip Architects. We've done this several times on this project that's been decades in the making. And this one is basically for another car dealership and the possibility of even more than that.
Right. Well, so the planned unit development amendment actually allows for 3 more car dealerships there. It's one large parcel that was originally purchased by Walser in hopes of getting the Honda franchise. Yeah. Well, then Nate Sutton was able to land the Honda franchise and purchased the other half of the development. Yep. So that's where the Honda is. And then Walser had to kind of regroup on his end. Well, now they've come back and they want to divide it into potentially three car lots. They're starting with a Hyundai. Yep. And then the other one, we're not sure what will be the other two. But the small one in between, they're hoping to land a Hyundai Genesis dealership there. Okay. But the agreement that we finally came to with them was that center lot would be tied to the development of the second lot. Okay. So we approved the change to for 3 car lots, and then we approved the plat for them to put in the first car dealership. Okay. But before we approve the second dealership, they have to have plans for that third space. We don't want this lot in between the 2 car dealerships to be just weeds or whatever. We want that finished at the same time.
So would the third one be a different brand then? So Hyundai we have and Honda.
So we've got Honda is going in there. Yeah. And then the next thing will be Hyundai, I believe is what we just approved. Yep. And then Originally they were talking about moving their their Nissan dealership
yeah.
over there, but it could be. We don't know what it's going to be. It sounds like they're planning on leaving the Nissan where it's at.
Who is they?
Walser.
Paul Walser. Okay, so Walser owns the whole.
Walser owns that whole.
Yeah.
What we just divided.
That's what I'm wondering. So one of their.
Sorry, that was a good clarification.
That's okay. One of their dealerships, but we're not talking two more large. Beyond this one, two more large car dealerships. One of them is supposed to be like a small boutique dealership, correct?
Right. That would be that Hyundai Genesis. That would be on that 1 acre lot. And that would be exactly what they called it, a boutique, where they really wouldn't have many cars there. They would just, it's apparently the high line of Hyundai.
Okay. I was just thinking, how do they agree to get another one there? But they own, if it's Walser, they own different chains.
He owns that whole chunk. So.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see some construction coming up there for that dealership then.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and back to that. Originally, that planned unit development, there was a lot of pushback on this because it's been slated for hotels, for restaurants, for conference center, for swimming center, for all these different things. It's changed many times.
Yeah.
But the final straw for me was when they tried to put a hotel in, and it was just too cost prohibitive because the ground just isn't very good there. So it really works out well for a lot of asphalt for car dealerships.
And you see that with people in the community commenting like, car dealerships, we want more, that's always been the thing. We want more restaurants, but you can't make people go there if they don't want to develop that into that.
Right. Well, and like that Taco Bell that they built there required pilings below it. I mean, that's a very expensive building process to build that.
Yeah.
Same with the Holiday gas station.
Yeah.
They had to do all kinds of work before they could even start building it to beef up the foundation. Right. So it's, I always liken back to the Holiday Inn in Anoka when it was there, when literally the foundation of that hotel broke in half because it was built on peat. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't want that. Car dealerships, I'm good with that there.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so moving forward, Council approved the purchase of streetlight fixtures for Round Lake Boulevard. This is basically an upgrade to LED lighting.
Yeah, so they're kind of taking advantage of all the construction going on over Round Lake with adding the walkway and changing all the turn lanes and things to redo the street lights along Round Lake as well.
Okay.
And converting them to LED.
Okay. So that will happen. All right. We only have about 2 minutes left, it looks like here. So quickly want to mention there's an open house coming up on August 31st for the 610 East River Road project.
Right, Tuesday night, August 31st, 5 to 8 down at the Head Start building down on Foley Boulevard. And this is a very important project for Coon Rapids. When 610 was connected to Coon Rapids, it only went east.
Yeah.
As they made the connections for going west, it only went west.
Yeah.
It only went west. So all of our connections only go west and come in from the west.
Yep.
Then they connected it up to the east. We don't have any eastward movement. You have to go through from 10, and it's just kind of a pain.
Yeah.
So this is going to give us a full interchange at East River Road. The open house is Tuesday night, and this is an opportunity for our residents to provide feedback.
Okay, so show up there if you want to do that. We also want to mention that the Love My Pet Fair is coming up on Saturday, September 18th at Riverview Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's always a fun event to bring your pets to.
That's a very big deal. I mean, a lot of vendors set up out there, and it's and then they have a parade during the day, and they have canine demonstrations and other demonstrations, and it's a surprisingly big event.
All right, so if your dog is looking for something to do, September 18th.
Well-behaved dogs, I believe, is what they specify.
Well-behaved, all right. Well, thanks for being here today and talking to us about the two meetings in August.
Yeah.
Thank you at home for watching. We'll see you back here again in September.